for experiential learning, like for your CPT, for like practice with the learned concepts and the skills. And the one I would like to add is Sam mentioned we have 18 terms. That is 3 years, right? Each term is 8 weeks. Each year we have 6 terms, so 18 terms means 3 years. Sure, you may take some summers off like those. It may make the whole program longer. It depends on your schedule, how you take the courses and so on. But the program is designed for 18 terms. So the first 10 terms will be always 4 units each term with a combination of 1 content-based course, 3 units, plus 1 unit CPD course. After that, you will start the dissertation research course. For those courses, each term is 1.5 units. So it will be a bigger relief thinking of tuition, because once you start a dissertation, only taking 1.5 units each term, you only need to pay the 1.5 units tuition. The other part about fast track, we are talking about if you are in a master program at Alliant, CSML, like MBA, the MS programs, we have the fast track embedded. You can take up to 9 units of DBA course units in the master program, and so you can save basically 9 units of tuition, which actually is a lot of money. Yeah, thank you again, Sam, for going through all these.
Yeah. So now we're gonna just move on to program costs. I know we just kind of covered a little bit of it, but just, again, scholarships and grants are available. There's a lot of scholarships that are very hidden. I think that's like one of the things that isn't as talked about, is that there's a lot of scholarships that aren't like as known, or as like, it's hard to find the scholarships rather than applying for them. I think you can cast a wide net and then see what, go from there kind of. And I think that there's a lot of support programs and resources, and definitely reach out if that's one of the concerns that you're having. But so 1306 is the cost per unit with 52 units. So that decrease in units is actually going to decrease the total tuition, like what Dr. Chen was talking about. And then again, we also offer an installment plan, which is payable before the start of each term. So there's other ways to pay, and because you're working, there's other ways to pay while making in some form of income. So the average tuition, this is just a note, is around 100,000. So DBAs and these doctorate level degrees are usually pretty and very expensive. But this is because of the new updates made to the program and the lower amount of units, as well as fast track and grants and other things. We are trying to make it more affordable, as well as including these different campuses to try and just make it more accessible as well. Moving on. So the concentrations that are offered are information and data science. So I myself am very into data science. A lot of these are just facts on the industries themselves, but the concentrations in information and data science is a very fast growing market. It's huge. It's really popular right now, and definitely one of the concentrations that, if you're interested in, it's definitely an area that's like trending and the next concentration that we have is the hospitality management. And it's very contrasted from the two, because there's one that's like more broad in these big, fast growing industries. And then there's more of these niche markets kind of like within hospitality management. And it's not necessarily as like data science, but hospitality management is growing by 18% within the US, and it's continuing to grow and expected to grow. And a lot of that has to do with the location and the area and the time. But the other two concentrations are marketing and management. These are both very broad concentrations and very positive concentrations that are expected to grow. And having a DBA and those doctorate level degrees within these concentrations are, I think, very valuable, and like one of those resources or tools, or kind of like a moat that protects you from like all these other AI and software and all that that's coming along. But a doctorate within these concentrations is really, yeah, something to consider. And so moving on, so why choose a DBA in 2024? So I put together a couple of these slides are more so the why would you be interested in getting a doctorate level degree? And a lot of it is because, you know, you're able to stay in the US while working and studying. You're able to get the internship that you're able to continue working within. And, you know, there's a lot to say about the status that people have that have a doctorate or those. Only 1% of Americans actually have a doctorate degree, so it has an elite status essentially if you're one of those that is able to attain your DBA or your doctorate level degree. And yeah, and so a lot of these stats on here are true, and they're growing by 14% over the next decade for those, and 77% of executives state that a DBA is critical. So a lot of it is about the profession and going into and getting your doctorate and how that sets you apart from the rest, as well as just the location in general, which I'll talk about a little bit more. But being in California and in those industries is definitely another thing, because information and data science within California, it's a huge area for information and data science. So the work opportunities and all that, same with hospitality management, same with marketing, same with management in general, and all those concentrations. So there's a lot of areas that you can apply this doctorate level degree while working. So why choose the program? Again, study and work is one of the main reasons. Accessibility, this is again the idea of those hybrid classes, the being able to do two things at once, managing multiple things. And two other things to note are more about the history of our program itself. The DBA has been around for a really long time within Alliant, and I don't think that it's very popular elsewhere, or it wasn't as popular elsewhere to have a DBA prior. And I think this has been one of the staples within Alliant, is that it's been accredited for about a little over 50 years, or yeah, around there. And its accreditation allows it to be what it is, because it's one of the first DBA doctorate level programs. I know Dr. Chin would know more about the history itself.
Yeah.
But
Thank you, Sam, for mentioning about this. So to be accurate, the DBA program was WASC accredited in 1978. So it is a little bit less than 50 years, but getting close. The program created before get accredited, right? So it's almost 50 years, and Alliant International University has a long history. That will be a different thing. So we won't talk about this in this webinar, but if you're interested, you can actually search, Google it. Alliant International University actually has another name, and that's why it actually has a very long history. Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then going back to that, one of the alumni success stories is the father of strategic management, and one of the people that Dr. Chin actually spoke to me about and introduced me, or not introduced me to the person, but introduced me to his name and his work through when we were talking about the DBA program. So there is that alumni network that also comes with being in this program and with Alliant. Thank you for adding in that information and correcting me on the 1978 one. Yeah. To move forward, so advantages of being in California. This is very similar to what I just spoke about, but location, being in California, there's so many Fortune 500 companies. There's so many hotels if you're in hospitality. There's so many marketing and management opportunities within California that sets it apart from other states as well as other countries. And same goes to the connections and networking that can be created through being in California. So getting your foot in the door in a lot of these industries it may take time. It sometimes just takes luck, but a lot of it is just being in the area and the location that opens that door. So that's one of the advantages of being in this area and going into the economics of everything. California does have a very large economy, and it's impactful across the US. So it does have a big impact. So it's a good area to be and to work in and to learn and to study and to do your DBA. But so more so on, unless Dr. Chin has any more to say on any of this, I'm going to pass it over to Christina to talk about the admissions and application process.
Hi, everybody. I believe most of the attendees right now are in California, if I'm not mistaken. They're current students. I'm very familiar with some of their names. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you again. I'm Christina. I'm going to talk about the admission requirements and process for the DBA program. So here are the following requirements or eligibility requirements. So the student must have successfully completed a master's degree in an accredited university in their country. Maybe some of you here are still outside the US and completing their master's degree in their country. So you have to have your transcript of records as well from an accredited university. Um, Before I proceed with the next requirement, please understand that you don't have to send your transcript of record to a third party for evaluation. There is a good team at Alliant who evaluates academic credentials, so there's no need to spend additional review of your academic credentials. These are, of course, for students who are not enrolled at Alliant for their MBA program. Okay. The next eligibility requirement is a grade percentage average of 3.0 on a scale of 4.0. So I think there is a flexibility here. If your GPA falls below the requirement, the university will ask you to send a letter of petition to waive the GPA. But of course, there is a threshold required by the university. So the next eligibility requirement is for other international students outside the US not having their master's degree in Alliant at those of this time. There is an English proficiency test that you need to submit or a medium of instruction. So medium of instruction means if your master's program and even your bachelor's degree from your previous degree, you have to submit a letter stating that the medium of instruction during your past programs, are conducted in English language. So these are the eligibility requirements. So I'd like to speak about the required documents. So these are the specific documents that you have to prepare before you apply for the university, or probably because the start date will be in August 19 for the DBA program. If you don't have your documents yet, like for international students outside Alliant or outside the US, if you don't have your transcript of records yet, this is the right time for you to ask your previous university for a copy of your transcript of records. So The required transcript of records is a course by course grade. So it's very specific. So you have to have the transcript of records so that the university can review your academic credential. You have to submit 4 to 6 page essay. Um, the essay will talk about yourself, your previous bachelor or your master's program. Talk about your why do you want to get a DBA degree at Alliant, and why is it important to you in relation to your career. So after that, we have the resume or your CV. Then next, we have a copy of your valid passport. At this point, if you are intending to attend the August intake, I need to remind the applicants that your passport should have at least more than 6 months validity, because we want to make sure that when you are already in the United States, or maybe by the time you do your visa application, you will not wait for your visa to, I mean, your passport to be renewed, because sometimes it happens. The student will realize, oh, my passport is going to expire very soon, and that's the time they process it. So the admission process, or the process will get stagnant for some time. I know that there are students who are not yet in the US right now who have difficulties in getting visa dates. So it's important that you check your passport. If your passport is not valid within more than 6 months, you have to renew it immediately so that you can, your admission process will be smoother. Of course, we have the financial documents. The financial documents, there is a financial certification form that Alliant will send you once you do the online application to the university. And another requirements is 2 letters of recommendation. This is required and mandated. And you, of course, the English test or the medium of letter of medium of instruction. So here is the process. So all those documents mentioned earlier, you have to have those, right? Now, if you don't have all of them, don't worry, you can already start your application. So what you need to do is go to the website of Alliant and do the online application. For students who don't have any agent, you have to pay the $65 application fee to the university and attach all the requirements or documents that I mentioned earlier. If you still don't have some of those, it's okay. You can still proceed with the online application and send the rest of the documents later on once you have them. But again, your admission process will be dependent on the documents that you will submit to Alliant. So you have there are instances that the student will be interviewed by the faculty. Please note that Alliant faculty are based in San Diego for those who are outside the US. So there is a little bit of time difference if you are outside the United States. It's important that at this point in time, when you do your online application, you really have to be on top of your email. Check your emails every day, because the university will reach out to you in your email address that you have declared on the online application. So if there is a scheduled interview, it is important that you have to attend the interview by the faculty. Otherwise, the university will be unable to. And of course, the next step is that the university will give a review, or the result of the review of your application within a week or within 2 weeks. So again, please monitor your emails, because all communications about your acceptance or any additional requirement asked by the university will be sent through your email. And of course, once you are admitted, you will receive your I-20 within 7 to 10 working days after your admission. I would like to emphasize it is 7 to 10 working days. So there is to manage the expectation of the student, so that you still have, not demand immediately the I-20 from the university. So it's 7 to 10 working days after admission. That's when you receive your I-20. Next slide, please. So after you get your I-20, once you have your I-20, you can process your SEVIS. For those outside the US, you have to process your SEVIS and, of course, process your visa application after completing the service processing. Then you have to update us, EduConnect, and of course Alliant, of your visa result once you have your visa date and visa and had a visa interview. If you did the visa interview, if let's say you already have a visa date, but it's still not within this day or days before the actual visa date, you have to inform us so that we can also update Alliant about your visa interview date. If you do want to have a practice, visa interview practice, you can do that with us. We have a we're always willing to assist candidates for preparation in their visa, actual visa interview. So we do have that service. You can reach out to us on the email once you have your visa date. We advise that the student will have the visa interview practice 5 to 7 days before the actual visa interview. Okay. So if your visa is approved, you will then be asked to sign the enrollment agreement with Alliant International University. If you notice, there are asterisks in some of the numbers here. These are when there is an asterisk, these are very important process. Okay, so post admission, these are very important process. Some student does not want to do a visa interview practice with us, so that's okay. But we encourage this to everybody who are still outside the United States. After you get your visa and you have signed your enrollment agreement, we might also ask and send you, follow-up emails like when are you coming to the United States or date of expected arrival. So this way we can expect and we can inform Alliant as well, or the university will be, they are aware of your arrival date. Again, August intake will start on August 19. We encourage students to be in the university or in the United States a week before or 2 weeks before so that you still have enough time to get used to the place, either if you're in San Diego campus or in Los Angeles campus. Okay, next slide, please. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, this is the time to ask questions. We want to open it up to you all. And Dr. Chin is here to answer as well, as she knows a lot more about the program than I do. But yeah, so feel free to either type or chat in the area or, okay.
Okay, so I saw the first question was, where was the question? Chat. Okay, so first question I saw is how many hours a student are allowed to work while taking the program. So there we DBA program offer the day one CPT. CPT is curriculum practical training that will allow international students to get the work authorization to work in USA. There are two types. One is part-time CPT. Part-time CPT is up to 20 hours per week. The other one is full-time CPT. So full-time CPT, that is basically over 20 hours per week and up to 40 hours per week. So if you use a full-time CPT, That means that you can work full-time at USA. The downside of that is there is OPT usually after you complete the program, receive the degree. But if you use full-time CPT, 12 months or more, you'll lose the OPT. So that is the CPT and OPT and number of hours. Yes, if you do not use 12 months over full-time CPT, you'll have a 1 year OPT after the program completion. Okay. Yeah, so question number two, yes, we say day 1 CPT. That means immediately after you start the program. Yeah, so each term we say 8 weeks, so close to 2 months, officially 8 weeks each term. For the summer, we do not have official summer break, but students can take academic absence during the summer break. So this is a very good question. At Alliant, sure, you'd better check with the International Student Service Office to get the official details. As far as I know, if you let's say start in August term, so August, October, January, March, 4 terms before the summer break, you are eligible to still work and take the break. But if you started in January term, let's say, that means before the summer, you only have 2 terms before summer, or like 1 semester, then it's not eligible to take the academic absence and work. Okay, if someone already doing OPT, allowed to get OPT again. So this depends on the level of the degree. If you are using the OPT from your master level program, you will get a new OPT after you get a doctoral degree. So let's say, for example, currently you're using MBA OPT, and you do not use more than a year over full-time CPT in the DBA program. That means like you mainly use part-time CPT, right? During the DBA program, you'll be eligible to use the DBA OPT after the completion. So 12-month full-time CPT, okay, part-time CPT is fine throughout the program, okay. The full-time CPT will impact your OPT. The 12-month, as far as I know, is accumulated throughout the program. That means like even you use, let's say, 4 months in the first year, another 4 months in the second year, and another 4 months in the third year. Together, that is 12 months, still will wipe off your OPT. That's what as far as I know. So, but again, this is only about the full-time CPT. If you use part-time CPT, it won't impact your OPT. Yeah, about the STEM, that's a good question. We were considering to to make, like, for example, information and data science concentration, or we say specialization, to be STEM. But unfortunately, it need to be program-based. And we didn't make the through. So for now, the entire DBA program is non-STEM. We think this is okay because the DBA program is at doctoral level and minimum 18 terms, right? It could be a little bit shorter, but you have the dissertation research, and a lot of times students may take like 4 years to complete the program. During the program, you may use CPT. So you have like a long time to practice to secure a job. So it's, if you have, for example, have a full-time job, you may use full-time CPT throughout the program. And in the 3 to 4 years, you probably can get the H-1B visa, those things get resolved. Yeah, but in short, currently it is non-STEM. So that means 1 year OPT only. Yes, for the whole 3 years, yes, throughout the program, everyone is eligible to work, use a part-time CPT. That means work up to 20 hours per week. Just need to be careful about your academic performance. So because the CPT is for your serve for your academic degree, right? So if you do not study well, for example, get Fs and Ds and get the cumulative GPA is below like, let's say 2.5, 2.2, that means it's not in good academic performance. It may actually impact your eligibility to use your CPT. Yeah, so it is eligible. It is day 1 CPT throughout the program, but need to be careful about your academic performance. If you're 3.0 or above, you're good to go. Okay. Yes, so students are allowed to have full-time CPT throughout the program from day 1. The downside is one, you won't be eligible for the OPT after completion. Yes. The other one need to keep in mind again is about the academic performance. So keep in mind, try to keep your GPA being 3.0 or above. Okay. Yes. It is day 1 throughout the program. Okay, any other questions?
There's one question I see from
Okay.
Sarah here, and it might have Christina's input on it as well. For students who are on an F1 visa, just have to update our I-20. It's kind of a question about the F1 visas.
Yeah, I think that's better for Christina.
Okay. For students who are already on F1 visa in the US, do they have to apply again for US? No, they don't have to. If your visa is still active, then you don't have to worry. But I think this is also an important information. Your I-20 is a very important document apart from your visa. Your visa is actually your point of entry to the United States. But if your I-20 is already canceled, and not, activated, then that's a time that you really have to go home, even if you have a visa, let's say for 4 years or 5 years more. It's important your I-20 is active, so and you don't have to go do another visa application. If Sarah, however, you are from another university, currently taking, if there's somebody here who attended the webinar who is outside Alliant, meaning in the US, but in a different university, they want to do a DBA or transfer to the DBA program at Alliant, all they have to do is request for transfer. Your visa is still in place. You don't have to worry as long as your I-20 and your service record from your previous university will be transferred to Alliant. So, Sarah, if you have a visa, don't worry. Your I-20 is an important document, so your I-20 should be active.
Yeah, and I saw a few other questions. One is, if we are doing 11 months of full-time CPT, are we eligible for OPT after the completion of the program? As far as I know, yes. So if it is less than 12 months, that means, like, try to keep it 11 months or less. But do check with ISSO, that's International Student Services Office, for the accurate information. As far as I know, as long as less than 12 months, that means 11 months or less, still gonna be eligible for OPT. Even you, like 11 months of full-time CPT. About scholarship, I think Sam said well. For scholarship, there are many kinds, right? Sam mentioned about the Alliant Alumni Grant. That is the easiest one, because every Alliant alumni, as long as Alliant alumni will be eligible for that. And if I remember correctly, it is a $5,000 grant for the entire program. So there are, as Sam mentioned, other scholarships. And when I say other scholarships, keep in mind there are I usually say internal scholarships and external scholarships. So do not limit yourself to the internal scholarships. We do have some internal scholarships at Alliant. You will be able to see the eligible scholarships for you to apply for when you get admitted and have the Alliant portal accessible. But there are many external scholarships as well, so you can apply for, and you can combine those external, internal, and try to maximize the benefits. Okay. Are students allowed to have full-time CPT during the whole? Yes, we answered that to be accurate. So about fast track, yeah, so the fast track happens when you are in the program, right? So we embedded the fast track courses in the master programs and the DBA program. I think started from last year. So those who completed the MBA program before 2023, it won't be kind of like automated fast track, right? But we do have an option. We can review the transcript and look at similar courses you took in the MBA program, and we can conduct challenge exams to see if you are reaching to the doctoral level for the course content. If so, the credits could be transferred in to the DBA. Also, another thing is if you have a multiple master degrees, we also can review the courses from the multiple master programs. The rule is also if the content are similar, the contents are similar, the corresponding courses, we say up to 9 units. That means up to usually 3 courses to be transferred in to the DBA. Christina, there is another question for you. Yeah, about the letter of recommendation.
Yes, I'd like to answer this question from Sophia and Vivek as well for documents. So yes, all the documents that I have mentioned, even if you are already a alumni, you still need to have those documents and submit. And you do have to do another online application to the program at Alliant. Okay, so it's a separate online application. It does not automatically carry that you're from MBA, then you can just proceed to the DBA program. You do have to do online application again, submit all the documents I mentioned earlier, regardless if you're from Alliant or from another university. For letters of recommendation, yes, we have students who submitted letters of recommendation from their previous professors and professionals. So I think some of you are already doing your OPT or CPT, if I'm not mistaken, meaning there are hospitality management students. Vivek is a hospitality management student. I know that because I did I assisted him during his application. So yes, you have to submit 2 letters of recommendation, either teacher or your professionals. What else? I think there are still just going back to the visa question earlier. Because I think I missed to clarify this. If you are a MBA student right now and wants to pursue a DBA program, your I-20 will be the new I-20 will be from the DBA program. So you don't have to worry as long as you have the new I-20 for your program that you will enroll or you have enrolled, let's say DBA, you don't have to worry, no need for visa if you are already in the United States. Is there anything else about admission here? Hi, Christina. Okay, Sophia. Okay. So she said that Sophia said that she has an I-20 currently and an expired visa. So like what I said, you don't have to worry about your visa. Your I-20 is an active document. So if you are I-20 holder, meaning your service record is still valid, and your I-20 is valid, and if you do a visa application, apply for a DBA program, so you don't have to worry. Your I-20 is a very important document. Now, if you go out to the United States, when you are currently in the DBA program, let's say you take a academic break. So it is important that you, before you go back to the US, let's say if you go out the United States for an academic break, you have to have that visa activated. So you have to do the application again. Okay, Sophia. So it's important if you leave for an academic break, you go out the United States, you have to have that visa application again. Because you cannot enter, you cannot go back. You cannot go back and yeah.
So Christina, if I understand correctly, basically if like even the visa is expired, as long as stay inside of USA, no worry about the visa. But if leave USA, then need to apply for
the visa.
Yeah, for visa. Okay. And I think there are a few other questions. Can we get more than, let me see. Can we get more than one scholarship grants? So it depends on what kind of scholarship grants. Some I think cannot be combined. But for example, the external and the internal, I guess, could be combined. If you get an external one and you apply for an internal one, that should be fine. What is the start date for August term? So the start date for August term, let me check.
August 19. It's August 19.
August
The first day of class.
19th. Thank you, Christina.
Yes.
So August 19th, 2024 is the first day of class for the August term. After how many days the next intake is? So the next one gonna be the October term. And there is 8 weeks, right, in between. So that means after 7 times 8, that's 56 days. So after 56 days after August 19th will be the October term intake. Yeah, so the application deadline, Christina, would you please answer the question?
This is very important question. When is the application deadline? As much as possible, if you are already interested for the August intake, you should have already submitted your application right now, because Alliant requires that the student submit application 6 weeks before the start date. So that's 6 weeks before August 19. If you are outside the United States, the earlier the better, because if you don't get your I-20, you will not get a visa schedule, and so on and so forth. There are countries who have visa availability difficulties. So that's an important part. But if you are already in the US and you are currently an F1 student, F1 visa holder, 6 weeks before the start date is the ideal time frame. Okay. Also, you have to be admitted for 4 weeks before the start date. So it's important as well. The next intake after August is October 14. So if you are interested for the October intake, you can also start your application now. The earlier, the better. But some of our students don't have transcript of records if they are not in the US currently. If they have their MBA in the other countries, it is, they have difficulties as well of getting their transcript of records from their previous master's degree. So if you are interested for the October intake, you can process that as soon as possible, so that once you do the online application to Alliant, you have your documents ready. So 6 weeks before the start date, that's the, if you have a visa availability anytime, in your country, but if you know that visa availability in your country is difficult, then earlier, like 2 months before the start date, you have to start your application so that you will have your I-20 and you can process your visa.
Yeah. So yes, start as soon as possible.
Yes.
It's the best strategy. It's not too late yet, although it is exactly like 2 months now, because it is June 20th. and the August term starts on August 19th. So it is about 2 months from now, but it's not too late yet. Do it as soon as possible. Also, if you are wondering about August term start and October start, my suggestion is try to start in August. The benefits is about the summer terms, because if you start in August term, by the summer, we say the May and July terms, you will have at least 4 terms before the summer terms. And then you'll be eligible to take academic absence and like also do like CPT during the summer. So that will be a, like, you can reduce the workload, you can take some break during the summer. But if you start October, you have, again, it is the 4 term before taking reduce the workload or taking academic absence and still continue with CPT. So think about that when you consider the start date.
I see a question here regarding the financial requirement for the DBA program. The estimated financial documents that you have to submit to Alliant is at 49,752 or 49,752 as your financial documents. But of course, this is still this is the current tuition, the 1,306 tuition. So again, I would like to repeat the financial requirement estimate is 49,752. That's the document that you have to submit to Alliant. Financial requirements.
Okay, and I saw there is another question. Can we continue working on our CPT in the time frame which we can skip for 9 units? So the 9 units we say is like a transferred in or kind of waived. So that means during the DBA program, if you had the 9 units transferred in, or we say waived because you took it in the master program by using the fast track, right? Those won't be, that means the program will be, you won't need to take those courses, but you'll be taking other courses, or you start your dissertation research early, right? So so the CPT, you can think about the CPT, you can use the CPT throughout the program. That means before you complete the program, you'll be eligible to use the CPT.
Also, Sam and Dr. Ken, I would like to answer the questions of Sarah and Atharva. I would like to mention again all the documents I said earlier. You have to submit this. The debate program application is considered a separate application. So all the required documents have to be submitted to Alliant as well. So including the financial documents and letters of recommendation. You will be evaluated accordingly with the documents that you have submitted to the university. I think there's a question regarding I-20 on summer absence. Once you do a summer break, I think Dr. Ken can verify this. They have to ask permission from the university, correct?
Yeah, so the academic absence, there is a process to go through the request. There is, we say, academic absence request. The registrar's office will check the eligibility and will require the program director's approval. So once got approved, it is in the summer terms, that is the May and July terms, the I-20, I think, will remain active. But during the spring semester and fall semesters, then need to be very careful. And also even for the summer terms, always better to double check with the ISSO. Yeah, so in general, the summer terms are not you can take academic absence, still keep your I-20 active. But the spring and fall semesters, if you take academic absence, your I-20 might be deactivated, right? Anyway, check with ISSO about the consequences of taking academic absence.
There's a request here to repeat the financial requirement. So I would like to repeat the financial requirement for the DBA program is 49752 or 49,752 financial documents.
Yeah, Christina, could you put in chat so everyone can see
sure.
the numbers? Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll put it. Sorry.
Yeah, Sophia, that's a good question. Dissertation research is a big part of a doctoral program. So we have 12 units for the dissertation research. Usually it will start after you complete the non-dissertation coursework. And yes, you can choose the topic of the dissertation research. The requirement is it better to be related to your specialization, or we say concentration, right? So for example, if you are working on information and data science for the DBA program, you'd better to choose a topic or subject which is related to business administration and related to information and data science, so that your dissertation work will be beneficial for your future career, and it will be more convincing when you talk about your dissertation. So for the dissertation, usually the entire article start from the cover page to the references and appendix, usually about 200 pages. I want to say 200 pages, I will say between 100 to 200 pages. So yeah, most of them like 100 to 200 pages. If more than 200 pages, it's considered a long dissertation. And if less than 100, we usually say it's a little bit short, but as long as close to the range, it's acceptable. And yeah, so the dissertation, you will need to identify the dissertation chair to start the process. So it will be important to actually pay attention to the professors, the instructors. You take courses, you communicate with before you start the dissertation, because dissertation research is a long journey, right? 8 terms, that it's more than 1 year, and it is kind of a lifelong thing. It will carry to your whole life, like what your dissertation is, who was your dissertation chair. Those are important. So it's important to have find someone matching your interest and matching, your needs. So, so it is important to keep in mind, even at the beginning of the program, to one is think about what could be a good topic to work on for your dissertation. Second, also think about who could be a good dissertation chair. And who could be a member for your dissertation committee. Yeah, good question. Christina, would you please explain the fee structure?
Please. Sure. So earlier the tuition was mentioned. The tuition is 1,306 per unit, and you have a total of 36 units for your entire program. Your tuition will be paid per semester, which is equivalent to 3,773 if you don't have a grant, of course, because the total tuition is divided by 18 terms. So you will have to pay per term. That's only just your tuition. That does not include your fees and books and your materials, and of course your housing, your other personal expenses. Okay, so tuition is paid per term. So it's 3,773 estimate tuition for the entire duration of your program. Per term, okay, per term, it's 3,773. I hope that answers your question, Manish.
Yeah, so Christina, is it like about 2 years tuition plus living expenses, like fees document? Yeah, so because
the financial document.
Yeah.
So if you notice the financial requirement that is asked from the candidate, it's also an estimated cost. There are estimated expenses there, like your cost of living, like, housing, transportation, and all your other fees. And of course, a portion of your tuition. That's the total amount declared on the financial requirement. But the tuition is paid per term. If you multiply the 52 units per times 1,306 per unit, and divide that to 18 terms, so per term you will have to pay Alliant 3,773. That's a tuition only. That does not include your, I believe there are school fees as well.
Yeah, and one term, to be accurate,
2 months.
is 8 weeks. So it's close to 2 months. Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah, go ahead,
Sorry,
Christina.
Dr. Ken. I'd like to address the. No, it's not biweekly. It's not biweekly payment, Sarah. Sarah is under the executive MBA program, I believe, so that's why she's asking if it's biweekly payment. No, it's not biweekly payment. The DBA program is paid every term.
Yeah. So, Christina, do you know if there is any installment payment, like, instead of one payment for each term, could that split into kind of like, per month, kind of like two payments for each term? Do you know that?
I'm not
Mm-hmm.
I'm not privy to that, Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Ken.
Mm-hmm.
As currently the students are paying tuition for the
Mm-hmm.
DBA program per term.
Okay, I see. Yeah, so anyway, that's a very good question. I think you can check with the student finance about a possible split over payment. But
Yes.
as Christina said, it is definitely not bi-weekly. So yeah, again, check with student finance at sf@aligned.edu. Yeah, about the payments like plans possible.
Yes.
Mhm.
Also, after the
Since
meeting,
most of
oh, sorry about that. I was just
sorry.
going to say after the meeting, I was just going to put together, because I have a list of all the attendees. I was just going to send a kind of an overview or a synopsis of some
Yeah.
of there's a lot of questions that have to do with scholarships, funds, all that type of stuff. So I'll put
Yes.
together an email that I'll send out at the end that kind of summarizes a lot of what Dr. Chin and Christina are talking about. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, since most of you, I think most of the attendees here are alumni, I mean, current students of Alliant, we would really suggest you take the alumni grant, apply for the alumni grant or scholarship. It could really help you in your financial capacity for the BBA program. So please take care of your grades, take the alumni grant, apply for the alumni grant and scholarship.
Yeah, so Sophia asked about the progress.
Process.
Yeah, process. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the process, as far as I know, once you start the program, that means the first day of class, right? You're officially in the program. You can submit the application. We can send you the link. Over like over where to submit the application. This is relatively simple because they only gonna check if you are you are an Alliance graduate, and we have your information available in the system. So you do not have to submit like essay or anything. So this is the easiest grant to apply for, and it is $5,000 for the entire program.
Okay.